Okay. John Gruden, if you go to ESPN.com, John sat down with our Mike Sando, our NFL insider, and just sort of went through some of the players after he has gone through hours and hours and hours of tape and chosen the players that he likes most in this draft. And at number one, he likes Marcus Mariota. Mm-hmm. And here's what he says. I don't understand why he isn't the number one player in this draft on Mel Kiper's big board. I don't know anybody in this draft that can do for a football team what Mariota can do. He can read the field. That whole thing about Oregon being a no-huddle dive option team, that is just a narrative resulting from a lack of information. The Ducks run a lot of pro-style concepts. Mariota does a lot with the protections. I've seen him throw the ball with touch and timing in tight windows. Mariota is the same size as Jameis Winston. He runs a 4.5 240. He's incredibly elusive, and man, is he a playmaker and a great competitor. I see him functioning in the pocket, out of the pocket, and if you want to run a zone read, he'll rip the defense apart. He is like Russell Wilson, only he's 6'4". That's John Gruden on Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, listen, and he's certainly entitled to his opinion. You know the thing about it is, that tape out there, we all see the same tape. There's no tape he's watching that I'm not watching or anybody else who is breaking down these guys isn't watching. So he sees the tape and he sees that. I watch the tape and I don't see it as that, as good as that. I don't. You know, to say someone's going to rip a read option apart, we thought that in the last couple of great runners that came in the game. How well that work? They're not even running anymore. They got hurt running. So to say someone's going to come in and rip it up, sorry.
But Wilson does it. Right, Wilson does it, at least a little.
Well, Wilson does, yes, Wilson
right?
does do it.
So and he's been in the last 2 Super Bowls, so it can be done.
And that is the biggest comparison, is he is a bigger Russell Wilson. Now, what does Russell Wilson have that if Marcus Mariota goes number 2 in the draft, he's not going to have?
But a great running game?
The top running game, when everybody is concerned about Marshawn Lynch, that helps a read option game an awful lot. I don't want to take anything away from Russell Wilson and what he does, but let's also look at the amount of how free he is when he breaks to those read option runs at times.
The one thing I'll say is, when RG3 was running that, it was extremely effective. The difference in RG3 and Russell Wilson was RG3 was very bad at not getting hit.
Yes, he was.
And Russell Wilson is very good at not getting hit. So if Marcus Mariota can run that and be good like Russell Wilson is at not getting hit, they can be effective.
My point is, it can be effective, but it's effective for Russell Wilson a lot because of Marshawn Lynch in the running game. And there's only one top running game and 5 top 5 running games, and the Tennessee Titans aren't one of them if he goes there. So that makes it less effective at times. And you know what else can make it effective? Obviously a good running game, but a good passing game. I see holes in his passing game. Listen, do I think he could end up being a great quarterback? He possibly could. He's got unbelievably great athletic ability. He's a smart kid. You know he's going to put in the time, but I would not have him number 1 on my board. I see the exact same film John Gruden has, and those want to say, well, I'll trust John over me. That's fine. But with that, every single person, like myself and others who break players down, we all have access to the tape. We all look at the tape, and we all get our impressions from the tape.
John was on our show in February, so he didn't just fall in love with Mariota. This is what he said about him then.
I know this about Mariota. He played really good for Helfrich at Oregon without Chip Kelly. They average almost 50 points a game. He's 6'5". He ran 4.5. He has suddenness, quickness. He's a quick thinker, and I've seen him throw the ball in tight windows. If you don't like Marcus Mariota, you don't like human beings, Mike. This kid's special.
That was not Frank Caliendo.
No, that was
John.
That was John.
So he's loved Mariota since then.
You look at him, and you get his size and his speed and athletic ability, you absolutely fall in love with him. But there are parts of his game I have question at. I know I'm not alone. There are plenty of others who have question about it as well. Now, if he comes into the league and answers those questions, he could be a great quarterback. But you could say that about everybody without question. But this is who we're talking about right now. Some of the things I see him do in college, I don't think he's going to be able to do in the NFL, but time will tell.
The next player that John loves in this draft is Dante Fowler Jr., who's one of these edge rush guys from Florida, but he's a big one. And he says, in this draft, I just don't see anyone who has the playing style of Fowler. I love people who physically intimidate you, and Fowler brings a presence to the field. You don't want to play against him. If you're a quarterback or a running back, you know where he is. I promise you that. So he goes on into some fairly lengthy description of why he loves him, but in a draft filled with a bunch of really good defensive linemen and defensive edge rushers, he picks out Dante Fowler and likes him a lot.
If you go back, and maybe you could look at it, when he came into the league his rookie year, what was the size of Dwight Freeney? And I have a feeling if you look at his size, what he measured at the combine, you're going to see just about the same measurements from Dante Fowler. a guy who is a quick edge rusher. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be that fast like Freeney, but he's pretty versatile. Hand in the ground, 2-point stance from a linebacker position as well. Unbelievable athlete. So let's see. I think his numbers certainly don't compare. Remember, Freeney was, I believe it was 6'2", about 260, ran like a 4.340. It was something ridiculous. Now, Fowler isn't that fast out of the gate, but he is an athlete coming around the corner and the versatility he has as well. So I agree. Leonard Williams is that defensive lineman. You know, that 300-pounder that could play across the line. And then you have, obviously, Dante Fowler, who is an incredible athlete.
Okay, I'm told the commissioner is ready to go. So let's do 1 minute for 1-800-Flyers. We'll get back to a lot of John Gruden's thoughts and some more on the upcoming draft. We've got Kirk Herbstreit coming today. Jason Stark with his baseball trivia and a whole